Ready, 2, 1, I don't know. I'm counting, and let's go.
10. We
Hello,
are so
everyone.
melodic. Yo, what's up, Jake?
What's going on? Welcome back to the Corridor Digital Podcast. We have a very special guest today, Mr.
Nick Laurent.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say someone else's name.
Guys,
We got Carmichael here, everyone.
Joke.
Cmike is in the house.
Cmike is in the house along with Ren and Nick and myself. Carmichael, good to see you, man. How have you been?
I've been great. I've been great.
Whoa, wait, what was that little hesitation there?
Today's a bad day.
Oh, no, what? But you're here now.
This is the up.
Oh, this is the up, okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's-
I had a kind of a rough day too. It wasn't the best day, but I mean, listen, my rough days aren't that bad. I'm not complaining, but
Right.
you know, like when you're completely, I'm trying to understand this new process. I'm completely overwhelmed by it, and you're at that point of being completely overwhelmed, and you just have to step back and go, I'm gonna understand this, but Jake today is not gonna understand this.
That's
It's
a
gonna
future
be-
Jake thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
gonna be Jake sometime in the future who's gonna look back on this and say how
I
it was
learned about
ridiculous.
past me and future me method of thinking a long time ago when I used to live in Florida.
Yeah.
One day I was just starving. I had no money for groceries. I was just sitting there. I'm like, oh gosh. And the couch that I'm sitting on is underneath my college bunk bed. And I just grabbed it like an idiot. And I was just like, I just want to shake this bed. And my finger touched something. And I pulled out a $100 bill. And then instantly by looking at the $100 bill, I remember putting it there in case of emergencies. And I was like, thank you, past me.
That's amazing. Now, it's like, but what if you moved and totally forgot you put it there? It's like the next
That would have
roommate
been a
coming
gift
in
for
is like,
somebody
dang.
else.
I mean, past me is a complex character, you know? He
know?
sometimes he gives, sometimes he takes.
Dude, that is the truth, man.
I'm having a rougher than average day for me.
You should talk to the doctor. Dr.
So
Pepper
I
knows
said
enough.
it in a sentence on Discord before hopping in. Jake, did you read
Yeah,
that sentence?
Yeah, the
okay.
fifth one?
Ren, do you have a habit of popping out your shoulder from time
No,
to
I do
time?
not. So, okay.
Wait,
so,
wait,
I
what?
read pooped.
all right. I dislocated my shoulder earlier today.
I'm so sorry.
It was very painful.
Did you put it
I'll
back
give
in?
you one guess how I did it.
You jumped over a table of guns and landed on concrete.
I'll give you two guesses on how I did it.
Plunging the toilet.
I think I got it. I think I
I'm
got
not
it.
Adrian.
You were on a one wheel.
Riding
I
on
was
top
on a one wheel.
on a one wheel
pro.
on top of a Tesla.
No, I fell off my one wheel and dislocated my shoulder and bruised my ribs, jacked up my leg,
What?
ruined my Vessi shoes. All
Dude.
because I
Doing
didn't
something
see
you shouldn't have been doing.
So I want to talk about that, Jake. No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
Wow.
No.
No. See, I'm at a point now where I'm constantly pushing my skills as a one-wheeler, so I'm always like doing really sketchy stuff, like
Sure.
kind of like stuff where I could get injured. I have never once been injured doing something dangerous on a one-wheel. And I think it's because I'm always 100% there. And I want to get to that
I
in a
have.
minute. I know.
I've hurt myself.
We'll talk about that in here in a
Twice.
bit. Carmichael's injury.
Play the clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, only one exists.
And so I think it's because I'm always 100% present in the moment. I'm constantly like reading the ground around me. Every time I've been injured on a one wheel, it's because I was not paying enough attention. And so what killed me today was a ghost bump. And that is the name that I have for basically little bumps in the road that can ruin your day, but are also kind of hard to see. I call them ghost bumps because like it's a little bump that isn't big enough to cast a shadow, so it's literally like impossible to see unless you're like paying attention.
Right.
Today was a little bit different because I actually it wasn't quite a ghost bump. I hit like this slight incline half curb style thing. I just rode straight into it and it folded the board over. Like the board literally just rolled sideways because I was avoiding this engine block sitting in the middle of the sidewalk. I was like, what is that? Went down and I saw the board rolled out from under me. I went down, my arm hit the ground and it instantly just shot my shoulder backwards and it popped out. I felt it pop out and I hit the ground And I yelled out, and I realized I couldn't move my arm. I couldn't move my fingers. My fingers here
That's weird.
I couldn't. I'm literally telling my hand to move. I'm trying to like squeeze my hand. Nothing happens. And I'm like, okay, that really hurt. That really hurt. And fortunately, I was with a few other people. Jordan, Dean. We were heading to lunch. Peter was there. Daniel was there. He was riding his bicycle.
Dude.
I rolled over, and that was when I popped it back in. I felt it and heard it pop back into place when I rolled over onto my arm.
Wow.
Fortunately, it wasn't worse than that. Fortunately, I guess it was in the right position to be able to be put back in, but I could feel it stretching. I mean, I couldn't really feel much. It was mostly numb.
It's a scary feeling not being able to move your appendages. Like,
Yeah, it was really bizarre. I'm like, I literally had, like, my hand is paralyzed. And the moment I popped it back in, it was searing pain, but like, I could at least move my fingers. I didn't have much movement. Like, I couldn't squeeze my hand or anything, but I could move it.
That is the feeling that my body went into when we were in Dubai. My entire body.
Wow, I did
When
not
you were up
expect this
high?
to go to the Dubai segment.
Carmichael got
I-
so
like-
high in Dubai he couldn't feel his hands.
in my
Literally.
legs, and my
Literally.
feet, and I was trying to tell my feet to move. They would not move,
Wow, that's interesting.
Oh my god.
and then my hands were just grabbing something
Mm-hmm.
to keep me standing.
Yeah.
Cut to the clip.
I mean, yeah.
Red's
But, like,
laughing at the
So
camera.
I started going into a tiny bit of shock after that. So like I was fine. Once my shoulders popped back in, I was able to stand up. I had to sit back down because I got very nauseous. But I was like, okay, this is weird. But I was fine, and I got back on my one wheel, and we continued going. They broke off at Bread Lounge. Nat and I continued on to Panda, and I had to stop on the bridge because I was shaking so violently. I was afraid of falling off my one wheel because I was so shaky. I had to stop and just kind of like, I was nauseous, I was shaky, and Nat was like, yeah, you're going into shock right now. I was like, what? So I just
Holy
we took a
shoot.
moment, I kind of just like calmed myself, and I was like, okay, I'm good. Daniel had some ibuprofen ready to give me at the moment, but I refused it in the moment because I hadn't eaten yet, and I get sick whenever I take ibuprofen or
Any pills.
on an
same.
empty stomach. So I waited until I ate, and then I took him up on that ibuprofen.
Well, I'm happy you went to go see the doctor,
Did you,
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, get that doctor's appointment. This is our health insurance here.
you should go see a doctor after
I'm-
that, I feel like.
I mean, I don't know if I need to see a doctor per se,
You
but
got a
I will
nurse at-
try to see maybe like a
You
physiotherapist.
should see a nurse.
You should see
Yeah.
a nurse. I think you got one waiting for you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
No,
you
dude,
have-
that has come into
You know
play.
one.
That has helped me so many times in my life. I'll come
I'm
home and I'm
sure.
just bleeding everywhere, and Jen is like, "I got you," and
got
she
you.
literally wraps me up in bandages.
Yeah, like a mummy.
Yeah, it's like I get like expert pro healthcare at home.
Heck yeah. Healthcare at home.
But yeah, so
Home healthcare.
I guess what I was saying
takes.
with the shock aspect is that when you're in Dubai and you're feeling that, I think that's a mild form of shock. Like your body was literally going into shock. And it's like you literally can't control your body sometimes. Like when you guys played that spider prank on me years back, remember
Yep.
that?
I've been watching that clip a lot lately. Such a good video.
Do you just like have like little Schadenfreude meditations where you just watch all the times we pranked Ren at home? On the
Looking
couch?
back at it, there's so many times where I pranked you
It was so
in like
many.
in the kind of like a sibling kind of way.
Mhm.
But there's also the subtle moments where you prank me back.
Yeah, but like that spider thing, like the moment I realized that you had placed a spider on my hand, I didn't understand the context of
That
that.
was
All I saw
Christian.
was that there's a spider on my hand, and next thing I know, I'm bouncing off of a wall.
Yeah.
Like I ran. I'm
one
glad
right
I
there.
hit the wall. I'm glad I hit the wall and not the window, because I don't know if I would have just gone through the window.
Yeah.
probably would have been fine. I mean,
It would have been a loud noise.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
But what in that video though, like a solid like 10 or 15 minutes are cut from the moment
Yeah.
I walk into here, and then 10 minutes later I walk into the studio from the back.
Yeah.
And in the video, it's just like out of context. Like I'm like, hey, what's up? It was like, yeah, no big
The
deal.
cool
I was
down.
just dealing with the shock and all the bodily responses of that. AKA, I was just crying.
Yeah, it's funny that looking back at the videos, I went into the comments section just to see like, have we triggered too many people by this content? And like at the top of these threads, Ren, you're pinned, like explaining, no, it's okay,
Yeah.
it's okay.
We did eventually have to stop the pranks though. They got a little out of hand.
They got out of
Yeah.
hand. We
Um,
kept on scaling them up. But farting a bell sound while running away was really funny.
Farting a bell sound? I missed that reference.
So remember the story of when we were trying to do the bell candy prank on you? We would ring a bell and a piece of candy would show up on your desk.
No, I'm aware. That was the thing that made us
do
stop
you
the
remember
prank.
that made it stop.
Do you remember that?
So, and
Do you remember those 5 times?
You followed us out to the hallway, and I had
Those were
the
the
bell in
good
my back
times.
pocket, and every time I stepped away from you, the bell almost like dinged, and I had to run away digging.
He was like
my
limping
God.
away trying to hold the bell like he just like crapped his pants like bing 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 all the way down the hallway.
But yeah, so speaking of like one wheel injuries, I've had a few crashes at this point. Every time it was because I wasn't paying enough attention to the road. And I hit some sort of bump. It caused me to go down. The first
Classic
time that was
BP.
legit bad was right before my TED talk, and I got all dinged up, and that was on my phone. The other 2 times it was like literally I just didn't see a bump. However, I've gone down other times, similar
you
to the
have.
way you have. So there's a moment in the video where I build an electric bicycle and I take it out for a spin. No, I think I just built the bike and I was taking it out for a spin, and you were following me on the
was
one wheel.
after 3 rebuilds.
No.
Because
This
the
is before.
motor would
This is before I got any electronics put on it. I just assembled the bike
right.
after
You
getting
just
it out of the
assembled
box.
the bike.
And I'm just riding it.
Yep.
And you're following me on the one wheel, and I was very impressed. I was like, man,
Don't wear
Carmack, you
boots
got
on a-
really good at one wheeling.
Don't wear
I'm proud
boots.
of you.
Don't
Look
wear
at you
boots.
riding the one wheel like a pro. And like I've seen people
Like a
be like, that moment was staged.
Pro.
And it's like, that was so real. I was blown away. I could not believe the time. I literally just said, you're a pro on a one wheel. And I just see your panicked look like, huh? Like,
He felt the Jinx wave hit him, like the pyroclastic Jinx flow just hit Carmichael, and he was just murdered by it
Clint's
instantly.
perfect
I'll
render
never-
just hit me.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the look of fear on your face, like a betrayed dog or something. Just like, and why you do this? As you're going down, like I could, your whole body was going forward. You're still just making eye contact with me as you're falling.
And my whole thought process is
Dude.
not on the camera.
That shot's so good though, dude. Like the camera pulls a full 360 and then the battery is everything falls apart and goes into frame.
The freaking AA batteries.
Like
I had to. We can't. We're not monetizing that video anymore because of the "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend."
Oh, really?
It caught up to
But
us.
it finally caught up to us.
I
but
forgot
it's
about
such
that.
an
It did, yeah.
It's such an iconic moment of the channel that I don't want to like cut it out of the video or like
No, leave it.
Yeah.
affect that sequence in any way.
It's
So
the same thing as playing Hello Darkness when we were doing go-kart. You don't cut that out.
yeah. Sometimes it just, it works perfectly.
My
And
favorite
you can't
is
change what's perfect.
the frame by frame where your head is here and then your head is here.
Yeah.
All in one
A
frame.
difference of one frame.
Yeah, oh yeah. Some great moments of injuries, but we can laugh about it now because no one actually died.
No one died. Yeah.
No one actually got seriously.
Let's be
injured.
grateful for that. Yeah, we got away
Yeah.
scot-free, but riding a one wheel is dangerous, man. I remember,
It is.
God,
It is.
you got your one wheel when?
5 years ago. Next
5 years
month.
ago, and you'd always be riding it around, and like I was always
Yeah,
terrified
you got
of it.
that
dude.
right when we were getting neck deep into
Like the first year.
I got
The
it right
first-
before we shot Drone Star Wars, which would have been around early
Yeah, you
April
got-
2016.
because Drone Star Wars, you took it out and you were showing me. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
And I'm riding on it. I'm like,
Dude, so
"I'm gonna
scary.
break this. I should get off."
Oh man, I was terrified. I tried it a couple times, and I like freaking flipped into the wall, and like it was so scary.
yeah.
I was like, I'm never gonna ride that thing.
Cut to.
Yeah,
Cut
and the
to-
V1s,
Now you
the
have
V1s were
one of the
kinda
most
sketchy.
souped up. Yeah, the V1s are a little sketchy
They are
because they don't
very
have any
sketchy.
sort of pushback and the motor's less
V1s on
powerful. You can
anything
overpower. You can
are
nosedive way
sketchy.
easier
It's
on
like
it.
a death trap, dude.
Yeah.
Like you have to be so careful.
But
like-
now you have one of the most souped up one wheels out of all of us here.
I went pretty hard.
Put a little
You have
gas
the off-road
motor on
tire.
there.
You have the nice
Yeah.
like foot pads. You have the CBXR battery.
Yep.
Did you put a little like a Two of Diamonds card in there? So it's
I
like,
haven't yet in the spokes. No, I got to do that. That's my next thing. I need to chrome it out too. Gotta get some chromies. No, yeah, I got the new battery that you recommended, which takes it up to almost 30 miles of range.
Just shy of 30 miles, yeah.
God, it's so
Depending on how
crazy.
you ride. If you ride like slow
Yeah.
and on flat ground, you'll get a lot of miles.
Yeah, and then Christian and I were commuting to work the other day, and his tire popped, and it was like, well, this might be a good time to get a new tire, Christian. I was like, well, I kind of need a new tire too, because mine's turning into chalk, so I'm gonna.
Well, plus you guys were both rocking the
Yeah.
stock
Yes.
Vega tire, which is my least favorite tire by a large margin.
I rode stock though for like 2 years. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
That's a
rode
good
the
thing to do.
V1 and then I rode the stock XR for like 2 years. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long time coming, but
Yeah,
now it's
no.
like a whole different board though.
It is.
The Vega tire complete with the battery is like, and the new foot pads, the Cush high
No,
pads.
you got the Burris tire.
Or sorry, why did I
Burris
say
all-terrain
Vega? Yeah,
tire.
Burris
Yeah.
with the battery and the Cush high pads is like
from Float
different board. Yeah.
It really is. Honestly, like, you know, I think the Onewheel is an amazing machine, but upgrading to the CBXR battery, which is a process, like you have to like literally open up the battery module after taking your entire board apart. It's surgery. And then you have to like carefully unplug the things in the right order so that you don't fry the battery management chip. Yeah, it's like if you leave the balance wires plugged in when you unplug the battery, the balance wires will literally fry the board. So you have to like make sure that you unplug it correctly. So I did that installation to assure that it was correct. But it doubles the range of the XR Onewheel.
Pretty crazy.
And in my opinion, that's the biggest impact you can make to the Onewheel is just increasing the range.
literally
so
like another
dramatically.
board. It's crazy.
It's a whole new board.
And
it opens up
also-
so many new doors for like potential rides you can go on. I spend most of my time never worrying about how much energy I have now. And it's like, but also on top of that, this ride that I couldn't do before because I wouldn't be able to make the distance, now I can.
Now you can get to the airport on time.
So now it's you, me, Jan, and Nico all have CBXR batteries. So
Dude, my dream is like eventually to do a backpacking trip where we Onewheel. Yeah. Like, but for that, we're going to need a charging solution in the woods. So like solar charging.
yep.
And once we get to that point, dude,
Each
You-
one of
you
us will
Onewheel
have
for,
to like
like-
carry like this giant foldable like solar
Yeah.
panel thing that is just for us because it's just barely large enough to
each
power
one of
like
us could
one
carry
wheel.
like one piece of it, like in like the army, how they all carry part of a tent, and then they all like the platoon comes together and they all build their tent. You know?
Yeah, totally.
But it could be like that for our Onewheel, and like, yeah, you ride for like maybe like what 2 hours a day, charge up the rest of the day, and then chill.
I mean, that's the thing is that like in order to get enough charge on a Onewheel, like you'd have to have a very large solar panel sitting out for the entirety of the day.
How large do you think? How large?
The
Pretty
couch?
large.
Really?
Yeah, the size of this couch.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, so
Would
we gotta
be-
wait like 3
The
years.
size of this couch would be enough to charge a Onewheel at the same rate as like a wall charger.
Yeah.
So the question is, how
And
do
they're
we
all
make
heavy
that
and not
compact?
foldable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
right.
this is a dream
You-
that might have to be
all right,
set
Elon.
aside.
It's something
You're on
that
it.
we've been talking. I've wanted to do a video where I basically fill the frame of a Onewheel with batteries, so it's just one giant battery pack that is meant to charge like 2 or 3 different Onewheels at the same time. But it's in the shape of the blade of the Onewheel, so like the foot pads minus the motor and
Just
tire.
a big puck, basically.
Yeah,
a big-
basically like a skateboard.
yeah.
Guys and gals, get ready to get your learn on with today's sponsor, Brilliant.org. Brilliant is the best place for you to learn fundamental concepts of math, science, and computer science online. They also have an app which makes it real easy to learn on your phone. The best thing about Brilliant is that they have interactive experiences which help you understand these concepts and learn the underlying principles to how these formulas are applied to the concepts at hand, which allow you to better understand the laws that shape your world. One of my favorite courses that I recently took was in cryptocurrency. That's right. Now, cryptocurrency, let's just talk about that for a second. Is it as probable as just shaking this 8 ball and seeing what result you get? In my opinion, after I took the course on Brilliant.org, perhaps it's not that improbable. It's a very interesting field, I'll tell you that much. And I learned a heck of a lot more about it through the course that I took. So if you guys are interested in learning more things about the world around you, you can head on over to brilliant.org/corridorcast to sign up for free. The first 200 people to use the URL will get 20% of an annual membership. Here, let me tell you if you should do it or not. Ready? Okay. You may rely on it. All right. See you guys in the next episode. Brandiel Daniel out.
So, Cmike, when are you getting your Onewheel?
You know, I debated about getting it.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, you
I-
talked with me about it.
I just was drawn to a motorbike more
My man.
I was,
drawn to that
and I also
e-motor.
like the fact that I don't have to pay registration.
Okay, to be clear, you got the
Super 73
Super 73 electric
S-
bicycle,
Yeah.
One.
which is not a motorbike.
It is a
It's a
motor.
motorized
e-bike, right?
bike.
Yeah.
It is a motorized.
But it's not a
bike.
motorbike.
I got rid of the rise out of that sentence. But yeah, I learned a lot more about electric bike laws in California, which are dope.
What's your favorite bike law, dude?
My favorite bike law is
I mean, I'm just like, I want to compare notes
so
here.
tier 1 being like the birds and the scooters and the one wheels, which are technically supposed to be on the sidewalk.
Really?
Yep.
No, technically the one wheel is supposed to only be in the street.
I've gotten yelled at so much for being on a sidewalk. Like,
Well,
Get
does
off the
it go
sidewalk.
faster than, on average, does it go faster than 15 miles an hour?
Yes.
It does?
Yes.
Then it would fall into tier 2, which has to be on the road.
oh, so there's
but
different tiers.
because you as the operator are allowed to determine the safety of your ride, you're allowed to jump onto the sidewalk whenever you feel fit.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's like it's one of those things that no one regulates, no one like
No.
is actually
Well,
policing
I
it. And I've
got-
had two different
I got
police
pulled
officers tell me
over.
different things.
I got pulled
Really?
over for it.
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
For what? Riding on the street or riding on the
riding
sidewalk?
on the sidewalk. One, I try not to ride on the sidewalk because I'm full throttle all the time.
It's also a big honking bike, too, to be
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a sidewalk.
Someone could
You're
just
like,
come out and I'll take them out. But at this intersection, there was a semi truck. There were two dumb car drivers. They're just like doing all their things. I was like, no. I get on the sidewalk and I was just like, I'm gonna go at least a block down until I get back on the road. If they follow me 2 more blocks while I'm on the road, and they pull me over and they're talking to me like, is this an electric bike? Is it a motorcycle? Is it assistant pedal? I'm like, it's a tier 2. You can look up the California state law. If you want me to open up my bag under my bike, I can pull out the paperwork that points to the law.
Jake's proud
And then
right now.
tier 3 is you have to be on the road at all time. That's basically above 25 miles an hour. But once you get past 40, you're considered a moped. And then above that is a motorcycle.
So, like, Sam's e-bike thing, is that even an e-bike? I don't.
That's a-
That thing's like
It's
a
an
transformer.
e-bike because he has bike pedals on it.
Oh, I
Right.
see. Which
After-
you just
He
put on
specifically
there.
left the bike pedals on so that
Nice.
it's
Yeah.
not classified
So
as
tier
a
2,
motorcycle.
you
So that's tier 3?
2, you're allowed to have pedals if you want. Tier 3, you can't have pedals.
Interesting.
Also, with the one wheel, it's slightly odd. There's been a lot of debate, and I haven't followed up on this in a while because it's like there's an argument that can be made that the one wheel is what's called an electrically assisted mobility device,
Yep.
which puts it at the same classification as an electric wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
So anywhere that an electric wheelchair can go, a one wheel can go.
Yep.
But
a great area.
and a Segway, guys.
and a Segway. But it's like, it comes down to like the interpretation of what it is. Is it an electrically assisted mobility device or is it an electrically motorized board?
Here's a
and
question.
that's a different
Here's a-
classification.
In
Here's a
California,
question.
basically runs it by speed. Which is
do all of these laws even matter?
No, I
According
ignore
to this
laws.
one
I
cop,
break the
it
law
did.
every second of my life. I am a crime.
Ren on a one wheel is a crime. Actually, your new riding nomenclature should be
Yeah.
I'm a crime.
the crime.
The crime.
The crime.
Just
The
crime.
criminal.
Yeah, that's actually pretty dope. A pretty dope nickname. We
First
should put
degree
that on the
crime.
jacket.
Hey, criminal.
Crime.
First degree crime.
Yeah.
crime.
I'll take one crime, please.
Can I get tots on the side?
Okay, well, hey, as much as I love talking about electric vehicles, we don't get Carmichael on the podcast very often, so we should do a little bit of. There you go, Carmichael.
Hey, you wanna stand up?
Yeah,
Also,
thanks,
real
bro.
quick
Sam.
before we move
Hey,
on
you
from
wanna
that,
stand up?
Carmichael, no, I don't.
lavender.
How many miles have you put on your
Lavender.
bike? 3,000?
3,000 miles.
Dang, that's a lot of miles.
That's a
Time
good
for an
amount of
oil
miles.
change.
I've popped that back tire so many times. It just pinches happen.
Yeah. We've had that same problem with our Studio 73. Wow. Super 73.
The second time it popped, it happened so fast, but I can remember it as if I was watching a shitty slow-mo scene. was someone popped their beer while they were standing in the doorway, and I was on the road, and I can slightly remember the bottle cap just flying into the street, and I go and I'm driving, and then suddenly.
You witnessed the beer pop that popped your tire? That's crazy.
And then it literally is sticking out of my tire.
Oh my
Wait,
god!
how did their cap get from the beer bottle to the street?
They just.
You know, when you just kind of plunk it, you plunk it over.
Oh, they just did that. They just did one of those.
I mean, that is a intense plop. Pop,
Yeah, it was.
Whatever.
Well, I
you wanna
wasn't
call
out in the
it, a
road.
plunk.
I was hugging the shoulder a bit, which I don't do that much anymore. I take the road.
You're a road boy.
I let them honk at me.
It's the way of the
Because
road.
in California, it's technically against the law to honk at a bicyclist.
Do we need all these laws, guys? Can't we just all...
Dude, I dare you.
It's a $125 fine.
To perform a citizen's arrest on someone next time they do that.
I'm good.
Come on.
I'd rather just wave at them. I remember one lady, because I can, swerved. Everyone's coming to a stop at a red light, so I start swerving between cars to get into the front. And this old lady pulls up and he goes, "I hope you die on that thing."
Whoa!
And I was
Holy
like,
shit.
"I hope you have a wonderful day, ma'am."
Wow.
She's just like,
That's the nicest dude right there.
Yeah.
then she kept going.
Clap for a
Then I was
nice
like,
dude.
"Why are you doing this? Go away. Drive. You're in a turning lane."
Yeah, I don't know why like people can't just like give each other a little bit more slack.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just like, hey,
Following the law.
let that person do them. You know, like why do we always have to be like, hey, you can't ride that there.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be allowed. There ought to be a law.
There is
why?
a law.
Dude, I mean, we might be like that when we're
alone.
old, though, you know?
There was the time when the dude in a Tundra truck rolled over my foot.
You got run
I had
over?
the pain came to me so quickly. I'm so fortunate nothing broke in my foot.
You got,
like-
Wait,
So
yeah,
I was
I
in
need some
the truck
context here.
ran
What?
over.
So I was
When was this?
West Hollywood.
You put your foot down and he drove by too close.
No, well, yes and no. So I'm at a red light. I'm in my lane, and the dude in an extra wide truck is trying to get by me to take a turn while I'm in the other lane. But I'm apparently too close to his lane, and he starts honking his truck at me at a red light. I'm like, what? Roll down the window and talk to me. You're literally like the distance is Nick and I.
Yeah.
Like we're not that far. Like roll down your window, talk to me, and then he just starts moving forward slowly, and I just feel this instant pain on my foot, not realizing what was happening. I look down, and I just see a tire truck, a truck tire, like just huge over my foot, and I just start screaming and yelling, and everyone just starts looking around like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Get off my fucking foot!"
Oh my god!
Like, just
Get off it!
just get out of here!
Come on!
Get your truck off
And then
my
everyone
foot.
else starts yelling at me. I'm like, why are you
Back it
yelling
up."
at me? He's on my foot. And they're like, get out of his way. I can't. And he rolls down the window to just mock me or something like that. I don't remember. I was too angry.
Man.
Dang.
Gosh dang.
Dude,
son.
freaking LA road adventures here.
Yeah. And now I take the road. I'm just like, I'm not getting out of anyone's way.
You take the high road.
I take the high road.
So Carmichael, you we haven't really seen much of you over the last couple years on the channel. However, you've been really busy working with us for the last several months.
I've been busy
So there's two shows that you've been
across
working
the
on.
board.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Now,
sure.
A lot of the audience thinks that you've come back to make crew cuts. I've heard little like
really?
whispers. Yeah, there's all these conspiracies that pop up on Reddit whenever
Dude,
like
the friggin' Reddit and their conspiracies.
it's
No one
crazy.
ever gets anything right. You just
Well,
have to like
no,
not engage.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
it's just
well,
the rampant speculation on
Yeah.
things
The
that have
corridor
no.
Reddit never gets it right.
But like
Other Reddits sometimes get other things right.
I'm just saying, it's the speculation.
so what you're saying
That
is you're
bothers
not
me.
helping on crew cuts. What are you helping on?
Well, Jake needed some help mopping floors and selling merch.
Thanks
It's
again,
2021,
buddy.
Carmichael,
Thanks
not
again, Carmichael.
2015.
You've always been there when we
2014?
needed you most.
Those floors are
and,
still clean.
I don't know how else we would keep the studio nearly as dirty without you.
You're welcome. No, so I was.
You see what I did
been
there,
help-
Ren?
Yeah. It's like if you know how to swim, you should be closer to the river so that way you're safer because you know how to swim so you don't drown.
I like fish.
Okay.
What was the question?
Okay, so
What are you
there are
working
two
on?
shows that we're putting out. There's
Yeah.
Functional Filmmaking and Son of a Dungeon,
Yeah.
and you are the showrunner for both of those. Now,
I am.
Functional Filmmaking is kind of wrapping up. The episodes are all mostly done. You want to give a
Mostly
quick
done.
status update on the progress of the whole show?
3 things, there might be 4, but 3 things still need to happen on Functional Filmmaker. 1, Clint needs to finish some VFX shots. 2, I gotta edit Nick's video. 3, then Nick's gotta give me notes to finish it.
Dang. Okay.
That's holding it on a thread there.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how my episode is shaping up because
Hey, right now
I
it's
was-
the timeline says an hour 30 and I have to cut it down.
okay, an hour 30. Wow. Well,
Wait,
like,
an hour 30? That's how long your episode was?
it was longer than that when we shot it. I was like, I don't even remember filming that because that was like I was so busy with the project
you were shooting
and
doing
work.
corridor. You're doing corridor.
Was this last December?
crew.
Yeah,
It was
wrapping
like
up
the
for
worst
the
You
end
were
of the year.
shooting a feature film.
Oh, that's right. You had all that
And
stress.
then
had
it's
to
like you
write.
need to write an educational piece. The most frustrating like kind thing that happened was like I kept fixing your script because you kept writing in cut to this or shots ideas into a script like if it was a feature film script.
Oh
And I
yeah.
kept like deleting it. I'm like, dude, this is a teleprompter script. It's supposed to be the things that you say.
That was weird. That was my first time ever having to read off a teleprompter. Not to
Teleprompters are
mention
weird.
act natural / like fun
Read.
and like read and like actually enunciate.
Well,
It
yeah,
was hard.
that's the challenge with reading a prepared speech is that like if you memorize it verbatim, there's a very good chance, or if you're reading off a teleprompter, you can come across as wooden. And if you just speak naturally and just start kind of riffing on it, you'll seem way more natural. But chances are you won't hit all the points that you need to make in the order you need to make them.
And you'll get lost in some type of weed somewhere.
Yeah,
Dude, and
you
then when
get a
you-
lot more like and then this
But
and
like 2 takes on the teleprompter. Like first take, let's get through it. Second take, you got it, you're good. Let's bust through another one a little bit more relaxed. And what was it, like a half hour per take? Once
Yeah.
yeah,
which is really good because if you think about all the times where Nick or I had to like film Ren, talk about something science related, that was 2 hours of our lives gone.
it wasn't 2 hours. It was 1 hour.
That was an hour.
you give us lots of material to work with. Yeah. I mean, you do. It's what you want, but like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of like repeated ideas because you got to get everything out. But with
Yeah.
the teleprompter, it's like you have one chance to say it in your little section that you wrote, and you have to stick to it.
And the challenge with the teleprompter is that there's 2 factors that you don't really anticipate going into it, and that's the size of the text and the speed of the scroll.
The speed, man.
And
It's
it's
an
hard to
art.
get
It's
those
an art.
right.
So
It's
subtle.
like, and that takes
Where's Jared at?
experience. Because it's like it's different for every person, and so it's like you can't just use the format for one person that works well for them and put it on someone else. It might be too fast, might be too slow. I in my episode I loved like in the beginning you kept that bit where I'm like doing this and because I think I was talking too slow. And the teleprompter speed was going a little too fast, and so like I'd mess up what I'm saying, and I would just kind of riff on it for like a moment and actually do it very smoothly. But then like I'm also like I need to get back to what I was saying in the teleprompter thing, and it's like going up, and I'm like, okay, now I'm reading it from the top of the teleprompter as opposed to the middle, and I'm like just trying to get through it. Meanwhile, it's like the text is receding above, and I'm like, no. I failed. I missed
But
it.
also,
Can you go back?
You didn't
go back.
You didn't eat prior to that first take.
I didn't.
No, you were so exhausted just reading the first take.
Oh.
Every time when we paused to rewind, you would do the like,
The deflating.
God, what's going on? Like, your hangry was coming.
I don't think I was hangry, but I was definitely like weird.
And I was.
Oh yeah, because it was right after that I went on that whole freaking weird chaotic energy bender. Remember when I was
What?
like running around being all chaotic and
Yeah.
and crazy, and then I jumped up on the freaking banister and was like dangling my feet 20 feet above the ground here.
Ren,
Sure.
you went on a chaotic energy bender?
Usually
No-
it seeps out slowly
no
throughout the
way.
day.
Usually you sweat it out.
Yeah.
It's very unusual.
But yeah,
got
I
pent up.
literally just stopped the show. We didn't even get through a full first take with you. I just stopped it and I was like, go eat.
Okay, I do remember that. Yeah.
Just go eat. We'll start when you come back.
Have a
I
Snickers.
think I
So
ate like
wait,
a
let's-
protein bar
Let's
or a.
Yeah,
Carmichael, we've got
Jake.
we're launching the show on
We're
April
launching
7th.
the show on April 7th.
Oh, is that the day we're launching? That's the official launch day.
We're launching
Give me a whoop.
functional filmmaking phase 2 of the website.
See,
Bunch of
I'm
new
excited for the
a
reboot of
bunch
the
new
website.
Green light options and
soft hold on April 8th, just in case.
no. It's April 7th. We can do this, man.
April 7th at 11 p.m.
How is it almost even April 7th? Oh my God.
Well, Carmichael's make the world go round. Wow, deadlines make the world go round. Carmichael, you know this.
I do.
So you
I do.
so we gotta get this over to Nick so that he can give notes on it. Like
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
I need
today-
that cut on my
that-
desk by tomorrow.
That comes into the like when we started the episode. Like today was kind of on the sucky end of the day. Was just like for whatever reason I was recovering from the time shift, and then small things just kept eating away at my time, and I was trying to get to Nick, and didn't get to touch your episode
Yeah.
today.
I
And
mean,
was
it's a lot,
and
dude.
it
It's
really
okay. You'll be
irked
able to
me.
touch Nick tomorrow.
I can touch you tomorrow.
I'll be here.
But it
I'll be
irked
here.
me real bad. I was just like, I don't want to do what I normally do, which is I now stay up till midnight to make up for the lack of time I was able to dedicate to something.
That's bad.
I
Yeah.
do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And-
like if the first half of my day wasn't productive and I finally start falling into like a productive trance like later in the afternoon than evening, I'll just keep pushing that
Yeah.
just to compensate. Because I know this about myself is that like in the first half of the day I'm rarely super productive. Sometimes I am, but like I don't know.
I feel the opposite. I'm like always like so productive when I first wake up in the morning, dude. You make your coffee, you get your nice little coffee going.
If you go for
or
a
you
walk in the
buy it.
morning,
Yeah, I'm
it
the
helps a
exact
lot.
Oh,
opposite.
dude, yeah. But like, it's like those first 2 hours of the morning are the best hours of the morning. Like that you're like working
That's-
at your desk.
That's why I love
For
it.
me,
That's why I love it
I'm
when
the same way,
like
yeah.
like some mornings I will wake up at 3 a.m. Like I just finished a REM cycle just perfectly, and I woke up and I'm like, I should try to go back to sleep. It's really late. But then my brain just slowly realizes it's awake and slowly starts
Oh,
working,
yeah.
and I'm like, I'm up.
Yeah.
I'm starting my day. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, make coffee, and start working.
Like a lot of the time when I'm working late, quote unquote, like, you know, between like 7 and 9 or 10, it's not
AM?
that I'm cranking or crunching, try to like put in extra time. It's that sometimes I find myself in those hours being extra productive, being able to
Yeah.
focus better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these moments are precious, so I just take advantage of them when
Yeah.
they do happen. So a lot of the time I actually prefer working between like 7 and 10 p.m. because
Yeah.
it's like they're more effective hours for me.
Mhm.
But
all right.
so
But
Carmichael.
but a troubling thing, and we'll get to functional filmmaking, is
Yeah.
I love working from home because one of the things I hate about going from home to a workplace is the commuting time. Yes, it's a perfect time to kind of zen out a little bit and like process some stuff. But how my brain works is like I was already ready to start working, and now this buffer thing is getting in the way of that, and I have to start that all up again once I get to work.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm at home, I get up, I'm having coffee, I go for a walk if I'm reminded to go for a walk,
Mhm.
and in it.
Yeah.
So satisfying. But then the balance is working from home starts becoming living at work.
yeah, that's where I
Dude,
struggle.
I mean, we all
Hard
felt
to
that this
separate that.
summer when we were
Oh, yeah.
like hardcore working from home. But like, yeah, it is nice. I do agree. Sometimes the commute can kind of stifle. Like, for instance, like last Wednesday, or it was like last Wednesday or Thursday, I took the morning from home because I was editing the Skillshare thing. And I also got to do some Resolve tutorials, which was awesome, by the way.
Mhm.
But like, it was like so productive for that 2 hours because I wasn't at the office like dealing with everything else. I didn't have to commute. So it was like, I felt like I got a lot of work done that I came in to
Exactly.
shoot later. But it was like,
Yeah.
okay, like in small bites, like I can see how this is nice. But like when we were in summer, when we were all working from home, it was like super hot and just like, oh, dude, it was the worst, man. Like, it's like, all right, I'm off work, and you just turn around, your bed's there. You're like, it was like so bad, dude.
Work's over.
That is,
I would like peel myself off with the sweat off my seat and then like just flop on my bed.
I'm gonna go dry off my sweat with my.
I had to
sheets.
move my desk away from my bed and put it. I had to take over the dining room space, so that way I'm like physically not in the same walled area as my
that's
bed.
a major thing.
But then we also have a Murphy bed, so I just put away my bed too.
of course you do.
So
Just
It's
for,
like-
very efficient.
for functional filmmaking, how many episodes are there? Are there 5 episodes?
5.
So
5.
Clint's doing a VFX episode, kind of modeling and texturing.
Yeah, his
Uh,
episode.
I watched half of his episode.
It's
very technical.
Yeah,
Sam's episode is about editing and kind of like the philosophy behind editing.
the philosophy of editing with a little bit of a deep dive of just watching him go through a little bit of it.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Right.
Interesting. So he
And-
actually sits down and edits a piece in the episode.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
That's nice. Yeah. And then Nico talks about cameras and how to basically, if I understand this correctly, correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
Like it's like, how to basically get the most out of any camera regardless of what that camera is.
Correct. And we went from the example of from a Red to a phone to a GoPro, and then we talked about a DSLR, because everyone knows what a DSLR looks like.
It's the idea of how to approach what philosophies you can take into approaching any camera.
Right. In the I'm not gonna say what the biggest point is because you got to watch the show for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like all of it is technically technical, except yours.
Well, yeah. So, but Nick's episode
Next episode, I have more
feel
to
like
say
that's a
about
little
that
bit
in a
different.
week.
in a week. Okay. But what's the premise of your episode? Was it like how to tell a story? How to
Yeah.
make how to make a crew
It's
video?
kind of
How to-
it's kind of just a BTS look at the crew channel and how we make our story videos.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, it's called How to Make a Story Out of Anything, which
right.
is
Which I love that concept because it's
Yeah.
like I remember Nico did a whole freaking mic drop. He didn't actually drop a mic. I dropped his mic in my head because it was so good. He was
Then
like,
I actually
like
dropped
the
the mic.
5 elements that make up a story, or to make a story out of anything. And it's like I forget. I totally forget the premise of it, but it's like basically like
Plot, character, rhythm, melody.
conflict.
Yeah, it's like you get some conflict in there. You state what's happening, and like you do it, and then you have like a resolution, and it's like you can do that about like buying a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
Something as simple
You can
Gotta
do
as
set
that
your
as
problem,
getting
you know?
up,
Yeah.
going to go get coffee. There doesn't have to be a conflict that's technically in the way, but the journey itself is
Okay,
the story.
I got it. You got your goal. Then
Keep
you
going.
got
I think I noted.
you got
that.
your
Obstacles?
your stakes.
Mhm.
Your,
Yep.
your obstacle. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure.
Mhm.
The
Solution?
the character's emotional journey
Mm.
and the challenge that they face and the conclusion.
Sure. My personal breakdown is Aristotle, which I really like. It's plot, character, dialogue, music, rhythm, and then spectacle. These are all just ingredients to tell any story. Obviously, that doesn't touch upon stakes or a character's agenda or resolution, but it was more of a technical aspect and a technical approach that you could kind of lay things out.
Yeah.
That's why I like Dungeons and Dragons so much.
So
Speaking of which,
perfect segue.
You're welcome.
I got 2 things I want to ask about. I want to ask about Son of a Dungeon, and
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about that. And
Okay.
then I want to talk a little bit more about you specifically and some of the things that you've learned in your own journey. So, but before that, Son of a Dungeon. What is that?
Well, it's a dungeon with a sun in it.
okay.
We're done with photography.
Yeah, we're done shooting all 14 terabytes.
Yeah.
And then we have to shoot
Good
probably
God.
like another terabyte of green screen.
What?
yeah.
So you guys have to
And then we're going to have another.
reshoot
I'm
everything
going
on
to
green
just
screen?
assume we're going to have one more terabyte
Then
of
we're gonna have a
photo
terabyte of green
scanned.
screen compositions.
Oh,
There's gonna be so much post work for this.
Can we
So-
use AI to do it all or something?
I mean, we're trying to get as many automated tools into the workflow as possible. We're using CamTrack AR, which is a phone app for the iPhone that basically 3D tracks your scene in real time. And as it spits out the video file, it also spits out an After Effects file with a 3D camera already ready to go.
Yep.
Natalie's been experimenting with getting that workflow up and running. So then from there, you can just import that into Cinema 4D or Blender or whatever
And just go.
Whoa.
and just render out your shot. It's pretty good. But yeah, so like just to quickly kind of recap the shooting schedule, you know, we shot 8 episodes for Son
2
of a
per
Dungeon.
day.
It was major.
And it was it was 4 days of shooting. Each day was basically broken into 2 blocks. One big block of us doing a thing, and then we'd break for lunch, and then a second big block of us kind of finishing out the day.
Yeah.
And we did 2 of those days in a week because Texas is over there in Jake.
Yep. Don't edit
Yeah,
that
so
out.
Jake lives in Texas, so he had to fly out to LA for this shoot. And the idea is that like when he flew back home, we're gonna all take a week off from this, kind of like reassess and or not reassess,
It's
but prepare
really-
for the next block of shooting.
Really,
Yeah,
it was more so for Sam because Sam has more responsibilities than just DMing for 2 weeks.
Sure,
straight.
yeah. So then it came time for you to come back, and Texas got hit by a huge winter storm.
They're called
Yeah.
snowstorms.
Yeah, we got hit hard.
All
The
all
big
the
freeze.
planes got grounded. They were bad boys.
Everything shut down for a week basically because we got hit with a giant Arctic snowstorm and nothing's built for that here. So
Not yet. Jake can be the entrepreneur that starts it all. Minnesota in Texas.
you just had to bring the Minnesota weather down there, dude.
I was like the only one of my neighbors who even had snow clothes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
As in snow pants and
They're-
winter hats and snow jackets.
They're like, Jake, what's that big puffy shirt you're wearing?
Yeah,
Why
what
are
is
you
that?
wearing a big
Exactly.
puffy t-shirt?
My
why are your
Neighbors-
arms
Neighbors-
not bare? I don't understand it. What is this cloth covering
my
your
neighbors
forearms
came
and hands?
outside. We were like making a snowman with the kids, and my neighbors.
They're like,
have
"What's a
kids too,"
snowman?
And their kids came outside, and they don't have winter gloves.
They're like, why are your cowboy boots so
They had-
thick?
They had.
They come out, their
so-
guns
so
are drawn.
kids-
They're like,
kids
"Who's on
were
my
putting-
property?"
kids were putting socks. They put socks on their hands with like a
That's
bag
that's
over
a,
it.
that's a good idea. That's not,
Clever,
I mean, that's
clever.
not a bad idea. That works.
I know,
Dude,
it's
my
just
favorite-
I'm
funny
just-
that
Yeah.
like people
Yeah.
aren't even
That they have to.
So, hey, Jake, question about that. I saw
Yeah.
a lot of things about Texans saying that the snow was fake because they were
From-
trying to melt it.
Bought
Have you
by the
tried this before?
Democrats, imported
Can you
by
verify
China.
that this was fake snow or real snow, Jake?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. So there's this, there's this whole thing about.
The one I heard. So I have two of them.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine just moved from Texas here. One was videos of people
Yeah.
using lighters and candles to try to melt the snow in their hand,
Like a
And
snowball.
they're like, "It's not melting. This is fake
This
snow."
is Bill Gates made this snow. It's government
Bill
snow.
Gates ones.
Are
Verbatim
you sure
government
it's
snow.
not? Are you sure it's not meme?
No,
Trolls.
no.
No, there's too many.
But like, I found
They
it
probably
funny because
started as
it makes
one.
sense though because Texans don't have a lot of experience with snow, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense that they wouldn't know the actual physics
But the
behind
other- the
how
other
snow
one was-
melts into itself, not down.
Yeah.
But I mean,
The other one was the Democrats bought the snow from China and put it in Texas.
I mean, if we're
That-
gonna buy
we
perfectly
actually
good
know,
snow,
we
I
know
was
that
like-
to be true. Actually, yeah, we talked to the Democrats, and they told us
Oh,
that
did
they
you?
bought it and
Yeah,
shipped it
those
here. Yeah,
dastardly
so that's
dogs.
verified. Actually,
Don't hurt
Yeah.
yourself.
I was just wondering if
Freaking
you'd
ribs are
heard
still
of that
bruised,
because
man.
like you are very well. You're like the snow expert down there now.
I was giving my neighbors tips and advice on like how to
tips.
deal with it because they don't even have snow plows here. They don't have
Or salt.
People don't even have snow shovels. Like the whole concept of getting hit with a snowstorm is completely unconsidered at every possible conceivable aspect of society.
Yeah,
It's
Like, why-
California. Southern California is the exact same way, obviously.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
like
It was
it's
like
just-
built-
Like
all
when
the
it
infrastructure
rains
was
here,
built with no
everyone
consideration
is
of that.
terrified.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And then a week, 2 weeks later, we finally got back on track with that, and I was able to
because
get out
also
there.
during that whole time,
and
we
we
had to
felt-
delay the whole like Falcon trip flying out to Texas due to a number of reasons, the climate being one of them.
Yeah.
But like,
Was it
Yeah.
changing?
yeah. But yeah, so it's like finally we gotta sit back down and continue doing the whole D&D thing. And I remember sitting down at the very beginning of the first day when we got back, and I was like, I forgot how to play.
Yep. It's a,
I mean, I picked it back up within minutes,
oh,
but
yeah,
it was still
that's-
like a little bit of that kind of like
that's a common thing when playing D&D. Is like, oh, if you take too long between your game sessions, you're like, all right, now I need to learn how to Durgan and Dagon again.
Well, it's
Well,
it's,
it's like-
it's
yeah.
almost
During
like
the
I
day.
kind of compare it to like utilizing a software program.
Mhm.
When you're in the middle of it, you get really good at understanding, you know, and there's almost like inherent techniques that you use to apply creative techniques to whatever you're making. And half the time you're not even thinking about them. Your brain's just in it, and then it remembers and it repeats it.
yeah.
And that's kind of like a lot of the different steps in D&D. There's all these things that you are easily able to do when you're like an hour into a game. But
Mhm.
when you step away and then you come back, you have to, your brain has to switch into that mode to
Mhm. 'Cause
I had-
understand all that stuff again.
Yeah, because another part of that was that like I had to remember how to play my character. Like
Yep.
how would my
accent did you
character
use?
react in this
Both
situation?
mechanically and role playing wise.
Yeah, the role playing aspect of it, because it's like I realized halfway through the whole thing, I was like, wait, wasn't my character supposed to be vegan? And I'm just like, wasn't I supposed to also be like
That's right.
a pacifist?
He was.
And I'm
He
like
was.
going around like trying to chop people's heads off, and
You fell into the classic like new player murder hobo mode. I was like, yep, there we go.
Classic murder
It
hobo.
was either going to be he nails the role play perfectly, or he's going to become a
Dude,
murder hobo.
everyone has that one friend who just wants to murder the tavern keeper. Like
Sam-
as soon as
Sam-
you walk in,
I
he's
wasn't
just
that. I wasn't that
No, but
pulled
bad.
my axe
Sam
and
did a
put it in
great
his
job at
throat.
like, you drawing your
I'm
sword
edgy.
on me? Like he's warning you.
No, it was a really fun time. I'm really looking forward to seeing the edited down versions of the whole
So am
show
I.
because it was a very fun campaign. I feel like the audience is really going to enjoy this show. It's
Yeah.
a very fun story. It goes places none of us expected.
That's the beauty of D&D and actual play and tabletop gaming. It's just like the only storytelling structures there are is the vague concept of arcs. That's the only thing that's ever going to make it to the finish line. Like, you're going to be like, my character is this, so that means this might happen. Like, you're going to plan that all out. And then someone's going to roll a 1. And then the only thing that matters is this one agenda or aspect about your character that's going to make it to the end.
So, who has your favorite arc out of this session, without giving away any spoilers? If you had to choose one.
Oh, that's if I say which one, the audience will be looking for it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You don't want to lead them in.
It's-
All right.
Yeah.
Well, all I know is I heard a lot of freaking screams and like huge eruptions of laughter from the other studio because you guys had it all shut out.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know,
Yeah.
there's lighting and
Yeah, there
like we
was-
kept it all closed off.
Yeah.
One of the,
So,
on a
Which was
technical
very
side,
important.
a tough
That's a
thing
good
about
sign.
the show that I wasn't expecting, because I haven't been able to test that many wireless lavs in one spot for D&D,
Mhm.
but the first couple days of shooting, the lavs were struggling with their connection.
Yeah, which was weird. We've never had that problem before.
Right. On the second half of the production, Spencer brought this hardware that acts as a receiver for all the lavs and the sound frequencies in a specific range.
Yeah, it's like a spectrum analyzer.
Yeah. That.
Spencer
Like,
would
yeah.
have that.
What that
So-
does
Would have that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Of
What
course
that
he has a
does-
spectrum
Wait,
analyzer.
you don't have a
Yeah.
spectrum analyzer?
Yeah, yeah.
I forgot
I mean,
about
I do.
Yeah.
I totally do.
I got one in my car right now, actually. I
Dude.
got it. Yeah.
Well, what are you waiting for?
For your CB radio.
yeah.
But
Over.
for those who don't know what that does, is you plug it into the laptop, and the laptop gets to see the transmission signals happening in the space.
You know that moment in the
And
Matrix?
and we got to like visualize and like in Matrix see all the code happening.
Yeah, it's like, you know that moment in the Matrix when Neo like finally like he sees the world but all he sees is code? That's what's happening to the laptop. The laptop sees radio waves and is like, whoa.
Yeah.
This area is empty. Put your sound waves here.
And so we just
Not with sound waves, radio waves.
we use that as a guide to pick the right channels that reduce interference. And then we also learned that whatever direction the antenna of the receiver is pointing, you want the direction for the transmitter to go.
Yes.
Interesting.
So you don't want just one laying down
Yeah,
and
they
the one
can't be
sticking
parallel
out.
antennas.
That actually ruins the connection even more. So we were strict about
Interesting.
doing that. And then we also put the sound recorder far, far, far closer to the table. So there's less distance and less room for error. And then
Right,
I
which
also,
is why that recorder was right there. Gotcha.
and then I on day 2, like right away day 2, I put backup shotgun mics on the whole table setup with a whole
gotcha.
nother recorder just recording super low. Like I think half the decibel level that the lavs were at.
Really?
Yeah, because I knew you guys were also going to yell.
Yeah.
Like you guys started
And
yelling
we
and it started
did.
like breaking the lavs that we were hearing on our end. I'm like, it's fine. I'll just cut to the shotgun.
All I'll say is that I mean, I feel like the campaign, the best episodes I feel like are the final like 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah. They definitely we almost got an extra episode out of it.
Yeah, we did.
But like of course, because there's in the beginning you guys are trying to like figure your stuff out. And like where are we? What are we doing? Who are you? Who am I? On top of that, I think it's everyone, not just you, everyone's first time playing 5e. I think D played a couple times. But like there was rule bending between 3.5 and 5 going on, which is a very common thing in D&D.
Yeah.
As
I feel like as long as we're having fun and we all agree that what we're doing is acceptable or not, it works.
at the table.
Yep.
Exactly.
I'm slightly
how you play at the end of the
That is how you
Yeah.
play. At the end of the day, that's how you play.
I am slightly concerned that like maybe the first 1 or 2 episodes might be a little on the awkward side because we're still trying to like find our footing and
yeah.
we get into it pretty smoothly, pretty quickly. But at the same time, it's like if I was to compare the first episode to the last episode, like we all learned a lot about not just like the campaign, but
It's
how
a
to
slow
play the
burn,
campaign.
Ren. It's a slow
Yeah.
burn.
Yeah, like these.
I'm just excited to see it, guys. Honestly, this is a great show. I think people are in for a treat.
Now we have months of post production.
I do know that
Is it months?
if
Yeah,
everyone greenlights, it's going to be months because there is no like, hey, can we get a review on this? It's like, no, you can't.
I'm trying to
Because
get.
A single review is a pass. That's
I'm
how
trying to
big the
get
episode is.
I'm trying to get you, Carmichael, Spencer, and Natalie pretty much full time on this for
3
3
months.
months.
Wow. For how many episodes? 6?
8.
8. Wow. Okay.
8 like 2-hour long episodes.
2 hour
Dude.
long, as in the time that we spent recording,
It was longer
And-
than that for recording.
and the
It was like
unlike
2.5, 3
Node,
hours per recording
like
session.
Node D&D episodes was we'll just play a session and we'll cut down into a bunch of episodes. We don't know how many, probably this or that, right? This we have a set number of episodes that we want to hit, and and me personally, I want to balance the Node style of always really being in at the table in the minis
Mm-hmm.
with you guys as players bantering.
Right.
I really want to balance that because those are 2 stories that are happening.
Mhm.
So what's the reason why Son of a Dungeon hasn't been touched yet, and I keep putting red tape around it, is the first episode really needs a director's pass, and then to bounce off Sam and I, we need to like lock in the intention and
Right.
style.
Like setting the template, making a format.
Exactly. And then we can have as many editors as possible just chug through the first 1 or 2 passes, and then I go in and do some creative spraying.
Right. Okay.
Do you think
I'm definitely looking forward to the whole recreation side. We're gonna like reenact some moments, and I don't know how often we're gonna do this because it is gonna be post heavy, but like we're gonna reenact moments as if we're standing down in the miniature castle
Yeah.
or set or whatever,
Yeah.
and dressed up in our costumes against a green screen, 3D
It's gonna
camera
be great.
tracks, and it's gonna be great.
It's going to be great.
Alright.
No one's,
God damn it.
yeah.
It's going to be like you are there.
I
Well,
got, I got
big
one more
in-
question when you're done.
before that question, a big way that we're going to do that is once we get to like, let's say 80% edit lock on an episode, then it's about the B-roll pass where everyone involved is putting down markers on the timeline on like, this should be a scene, a green screen moment, this needs to be a green screen moment, this one, and we just go through that, and then we in and out those scenes, so we have video files while we're rolling on the green screen. We can watch the scene super quick. Okay, let's capture that.
Okay.
That's the plan. Murphy and Dobie probably
It
will
will
have
not
another
survive
plan.
contact with the enemy.
We've been conducting a campaign to stifle Dobie and suffocate him. So hopefully you'll have a nice
I love
easy
that
journey.
Son of a Dungeon is going to be the only thing that's on Premiere
Yeah.
at Corridor.
I mean, I still am gonna edit everything in Premiere.
That's
I
how
don't
he's
have
getting
any-
in. That's the channel.
That's how he's doing it.
Well, it's like
I knew there was a
I'm
portal
not editing videos frequently enough to go to Resolve. I have
Yeah.
nothing specifically against Resolve, but
No
what
way.
I do edit in Premiere is going to be very heavily tied to After Effects. So it
Yep.
makes sense in my situation to maintain that.
That was the
Yep.
argument that kept it in Premiere. Son of a Dungeon.
I know it was, yeah.
It's a strong argument. I mean, that dynamic link
It's very
feature is
very
nice.
handy, very convenient. And
I don't-
because
I
we've
don't know
we've
if
gone
it's-
through this on the Corridor projects that we've shot or edited in Resolve. It's like you have to actually kick out and render out files for the
Old-fashioned, yeah.
VFX. And if it's a couple frames too short, guess what? You got to re-render the entire thing.
Yeah.
Whereas in After Effects, it's like, oh, because you're literally using the source footage that you just sent over from Premiere, you can just extend it.
Are you guys planning on moving over to Fusion a bit more?
No, probably not.
Well, that will stifle your workflow.
Yeah, well, it's been a little bit.
I mean,
of a,
let me rephrase. Again, I'm not the one to answer that question. I think Dean is practicing a little bit with Fusion.
only as far as to like be able to do things that we would normally do. You know, the minimal amount of compositing you do, like
Right.
in After Effects for a crew video.
Right, yeah.
You can do it in Fusion, but it's all node based. So personally, I haven't delved into it. I do miss the dynamic link for things like, you know, some After Effects titles and stuff. But
Yeah, I have to give it to DaVinci. That's a pretty big thing to do, is have one software active at the same time, and you can go from node to timeline based. And it's a tough.
it's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah.
I'm loving DaVinci because that cuts page is really nice to help me like lay out my edit
I need
first.
to get the little wheel thing so I can
Yeah,
just scroll through
we
all
really
the Son
wanna
of a
get one of
Dungeon
those.
footage at once.
Yep.
There's do you guys hear the rumbling? It's the
Yeah,
rumbling.
there's a rumbling
happening.
upstairs.
Oh, there's a grumbling up this upstairs.
It's the
right
end of the
now.
day.
I know what that
Yeah,
means.
And everyone's going to
All
play
well,
some
before
Super
we end,
Smash
I got one more
Bros.
question, Carmichael.
I mean, I'm still down to keep talking. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
I'm
it's
down
like
to
it's
keep
they're
talking.
I
loud
want
up
to play
there. They're
Super
being
Smash Bros,
inconsiderate.
dude.
You know,
I've
when-
never played
Super
that.
Smash Brethren.
You know, when
I wanna
when this is
smush.
over, all that's going to happen is I'm going to just go back to my home.
Also, can I just quickly point out, Jake, that when you won that game of Super Smash Brethren,
Not set up, by the way. That was a real thing that happened.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like,
But it'll be edited to look like it was set up.
so perfect. It was so perfect because it's like we had this whole storyline of you being like, you guys can't are in your games, and it's like, Jake, you don't get it. Games are great, and then you go and you freaking win. And that shot
Not
of you just putting
putting-
your arms up and everyone like freaking out, like it was so genuine and so real. It's my favorite moment because you're just like, oh, that's what it's like. And people are like, you staged that, and it's like, no, we didn't. There's
like-
certain aspects of every single video that are
Yeah.
always staged,
It's
like
because
the
I was
intro,
hamming
the
it up so
outro.
hard before. It's because I ham up the character.
You're a
like,
hammer.
so hard before to. Some people don't see that somehow. They're like they think that I'm actually that guy. I mean, I'm that guy like a little bit, but like not.
Oh yeah.
Not like
Yeah, of
just
course.
being in the video.
Depends on
I
how
mean,
much
in
Smash is
every
being
single video,
played.
we're playing characters, not ourselves,
I would-
and our
not
characters
me.
are based on ourselves.
Not me. I'm always myself.
Anytime a camera is rolling, yeah, I mean, we can make a much larger philosophical argument. Like I always take pride in being able to be like, what you see on camera is basically me in real life. But at the same time, I'm always a heightened version of that.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a-
know
it's
about
a
you, but I'm
caricature.
always myself.
Yeah, it's a caricature.
Like the worst accent. Sorry.
Okay, so Carmichael,
I'm giggling over here.
the question everyone's dying to know.
Am I real?
Since your journey into the unknown started, what have you learned, man? What's the biggest thing you've learned? And what's been the hardest thing and the best thing?
When you say journey into the unknown, you mean like leaving corridor?
Yeah, like since you know,
Into the
since we did the
unknown!
whole like
Cut to
Carmichael's
the clip.
leaving, you know, mid 2019.
Yeah.
It's coming up on 2 years now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just moved down the street, dude.
I know,
We still go
but,
to the
like,
same taco stand.
Wait, did you move down the
It's
street?
a metaphor.
Oh, but like, did you move? Are
No.
you still in the same place?
No, I'm still in the same place. I'm in K-Town.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Do you have any takeaways for the audience? 'Cause
Give
they
me some wisdom.
They always ask, and I always see in
Right.
like videos that you are in, people are always asking, you know, for your
Yeah.
They want to know how
For
you're
your
doing,
insight.
dude.
I mean,
People want to know.
on the example of today being a bad day, like I did a really good job at managing stress and managing my anger, which in the past I haven't been as successful with.
I mean, that's hard. We all struggle with that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gets down, like I've gotten physically violent, not at anyone but the wall and myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I was making a joke.
It gets.
But like,
Let's do a deep dive here.
is it normally stress from work that brings that on, or like?
It's everything.
Yeah.
Like my brain is wired in a way that I'm looking at things so specific and detailed that like occasionally you'll, for example, you say something that I can't 100% agree, and therefore I just won't agree at all. Like, because I know that 20% of that is slightly incorrect, but I don't want to get in a deep dive and explain why that 20% is incorrect.
No, it's like that classic Keanu Reeves moment where he's like, sometimes I just don't care.
Yeah.
1 + 3 = 5. Sure, man, you do you. Good for you, man.
And I'm working on that. Haven't hit any walls lately or myself, which is great. But I was able to like stop, breathe, and just go from broad stroke conversation to small micro conversations today, and then back out and just walk away, eat, continue the conversation a little bit further. It's really hard. It's really hard. I've had anger issues since forever. So that's something I've been practicing and learning, because I remember in 2019 winter, about to lose my home and everything. Just ran out of money. Not enough in, too much out. And I got the worst anxiety attack possible. I fell on the floor like seizuring, and I could not stop. I tried so hard. I couldn't catch my breath or anything. Alicia nearly called 911. It was really bad, and and since then I haven't stopped working. Fear's a good motivator.
Carmichael, I think you misunderstood the question.
So no,
This
I'm
is supposed to be
getting
a happy tale.
Well, it's the unknown.
No, I got you. I was being facetious, but
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Thankfully,
Unknown can.
January, just because of the slow-mo paint drop idea, to film a paint drop drying in slow motion, and Richard Ryan came over and stuff.
yeah.
And because I mentioned to him, because he was bringing up some conversations I brought up, like, I'm going to be leaving Corridor soon and freelancing stuff. Solely because of that day, did he give me a call.
Interesting. Okay.
And then he was like, "Are you still freelancing?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm there with like running out of food. My family kind of pitched in for that December rent. January was up in the air. Like I could have been out of LA by February.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I'm freelancing. Yeah. And I get a call from Logan. Talk to Logan. He's like, can you come out to Vegas? It's like, I could. And then he's like, we'll cover travel. We'll feed you. It's like, great. Yeah, I'll be there. He's like, this is our budget. I don't want to really go too high. And I was like, I quickly did 2 plus 3 equals 6. And I was like, good enough.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll see you in Vegas. And
Got a job.
got a job. Not really a job.
You got a freelance gig.
I got a freelance gig that I just keep coming back to. I really like working for the Black Rifle guys. Evan's always a hoot to film.
He got a one wheel.
And
Did he really?
I love
Yeah,
it.
he got a one
I
wheel.
love
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
I can't get off of it.
Wait, was that after me and Jan brought the one wheel to Texas and had
Got
him
him
ride our
after-
one wheels?
he got him
Yes.
after the,
This might
got
be-
him.
the
One
fall
more
That's
for
how
the
it
boat.
works. That's how it
Dude.
works. No one ever just goes and gets a one wheel arbitrarily, and rarely do they get it because they saw someone else riding it. It's usually because they got on it and actually tried it out.
And
Yeah.
he was trying the V1, by the way, too.
Sorry,
Evan was on our
anyway,
V1. Yeah.
We cut you
Yeah.
off. We went on a tangent.
No worries. So I learned a lot about YouTube in a way that I don't think I would have ever learned here.
Do you mean like making content for YouTube or just like?
Yeah. So when starting Fables, right?
Mhm.
I learned such a great deal about the meta expectation or the meta perspective of the audience when looking at content. So right when Fables launched, like a lot of people came thinking it would be Node. And they're like, this isn't Node. I was like, yeah, I'm a dude in my living room borrowing every piece of gear. And one of my cameras died before we started rolling, so there's no camera for the battle cam.
Oh no.
Yeah, no shit, this is Node.
That sounds actually a lot like Node.
I mean, we have a lot of jank in Node always. There's always some jank
There's
going
jank
on. Yeah.
everywhere in productions. You can't get rid of it.
Yeah, and then also my computer wasn't strong enough to edit any of the footage.
Oh no.
So I was like, I'll just make it look picture in picture and then walk away and I'll be done. Because I can't, I'm editing at 5 frames a second. I can't review a cut that way.
Yeah. Also, you talking about content totally reminded me that we didn't talk about my episode of functional filmmaking.
No, we'll leave it as a surprise.
Okay. Well, I mean, I wanted to address it a little bit because it's like
we'll come back to it then.
I set out
because it's a timeline thing.
timeline. Time does not go in lines, Carmichael.
When you're editing,
it goes
it
in
does.
circles, and that is why clocks are round.
That's the
Not
most
for the
brilliant
military.
observation I've ever heard in my life, Ren. Thank
I
you
can't
for
take
that.
credit. That's a quote.
Don't do other people's jokes, Ren.
Yeah, but like I guess what I'm saying is like I sat down to write my functional filmmaking episode as a way to
real.
like describe how I make these science videos. Like, and I ended up kind of making more of a video talking about how to make good videos, like good ideas. What makes a good idea?
You really approached it by the final product. What came out of it was really solid advice for anyone who makes or tries to make YouTube content.
Yeah.
It was specific enough that it fell into your lap for your science videos, but it was broad enough that it kind of lands on any genre on the internet.
Which is kind of what I ended up, because I was like, man, no one's making, like, not enough, not that, the audience that makes educational entertainment is incredibly small. And I'm making something for them?
Yeah.
No, it's like, okay, I'm going to make something for anyone who wants to make videos, using my science videos as like a basis of it. But it ended up kind of being more about just how to make a good video.
I love it at a certain point. You're like, all right, once you know what camera you are, you can watch Nico's video. Once you're in the editing phase, you can watch Sam's episode. Once you're doing VFX, you can
Oh yeah,
watch.
that's right, dude. I get to a point. It's
pass it
like
off.
you feel like you're really in the groove, and I'm like, and yeah, from now on, you're kind of on your own. That's
You're
it,
on
you
your
know.
own.
Edit, upload.
Good luck. Go.
Right.
I'm like, and it's just like it kind of feels a little abrupt of an ending. You're like, oh, but I wanted to hear more. It's like, well, I didn't.
Season 2.
I didn't want to talk about more. I talked about what I wanted to talk about.
No, but there's a big thing. Like, a lot of your advice is super solid. Like, Allie watches it, and she goes, Ren's episode is the best. I was like, great. Too bad we didn't get Jake in there. That might have threw off the skew.
That would have thrown everything off.
Well, I think the idea behind that statement is just that mine's very generalized.
Yours
Whereas like
is
Clint's
easier.
is incredibly specific.
Yeah.
Even Nico's and Sam's to a certain degree are kind of specific. But that's the idea
Mine's
behind a
pretty
masterclass.
general,
They
too.
are specific.
Yeah.
Yours is even a specific video
Is
too.
it? I feel like it's kind of general. I feel like
You-
what
Yours,
I
I think-
wanted was to get more specific, and I feel like my biggest worry about when I first see this cut is that it's going to be too general. But maybe that's what people want. I don't know.
I don't know. Yours is the episode I'm looking forward to seeing the most.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, no pressure.
Pressure's on me.
Because it's advice on how to make YouTube videos, essentially. It's
Yeah.
like,
Honestly, that's what your episode became.
yeah.
So maybe, yeah, it's like the double feature. For
Yeah.
like how to
Double
make
feature.
a YouTube video.
Because yours is more about how to tell a story, and mine's more about how to come up with a good idea that'll sell.
Gotcha.
And by sell, I mean like click.
Sell.
You know, like get the click.
I
Like
feel
a
like our
dollar,
videos kind
like a
of
buck.
like are the antithesis of each other then, because mine's like make a story out of anything.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hey,
You don't
drop
even
in this
touch
phone,
market-
that's
you
a
don't touch
story.
marketing
You're
at
like,
all.
no, don't do that.
No. I'm saying
story.
it's like part of my episode is very much so talking about like you have to think about ideas from the standpoint of a title and a thumbnail. Like
That's
you
very
can come
true.
up with a cool idea and it's like, all right, cool. How do you sell this idea? What's the elevator pitch version of this idea?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
But then
And that's where most videos on YouTube kind of suffer. The content might be great, but the title and thumbnail don't get you to click.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean anything.
it's
That's
the
such a
same
good
thing
pair.
as saying like there's a lot of talented people out there, but they just don't know how to they're not
Yeah.
in the spotlight.
And that's something that like we all struggle with every single time we make a new
Every
video. It's
day.
the hardest challenge of any video is coming up with the right marketing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is difficult.
I just tweaked
But
the
the counter to that is the fact like once you take on the task of focusing on thumbnail and title first before the video, you no longer can just shoot freely. You know, you're like there's a gate now. And depending on the production, depending on the budget, the cost, the needs, there's give and take.
It is. It
Like-
definitely changes the vibe and like the, I guess, fluidity of the shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's nice. And I think I go into that in the episode. It's like sometimes you have too much footage and you wish that, hey, I wish I'd been a little bit more pointed with what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
I
The
had
whole
more of an
idea
idea.
behind like kind of thinking of an idea from a title and thumbnail standpoint is it gives you like a goalpost, right?
Yes.
It gives you a
Right.
direction to try to aim towards.
And also
you
you-
still
you
want to
know-
try to capture all the quirky stuff you can and like, get everything that you think would be good. And sometimes something happens spur of the moment that like, this is grade A gold.
Yeah.
Capture. This is definitely going in the video. We didn't have a
Renzo
plan for
threw a
this.
chair across the room. Make that the thumbnail now.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
But yeah, that's Europe. We literally didn't spoil a single thing. Great. But back to my story.
yeah, sorry.
So speaking of what content to make on YouTube,
So the biggest thing I learned from when Fables and Expectations happened is we pushed too hard on my goodbye.
oh, interesting. So you didn't feel like you had a payoff for it, maybe?
They
Yet?
didn't.
Oh, interesting.
The audience didn't feel like they had a payoff.
Did you
for
have
it.
videos uploaded when we did the push? I feel like
yeah,
you had your first
I
one.
had promos of introducing
Oh, okay.
my friends that were going to be on the channel.
Gotcha.
And the first video drops, it still gets great views because it's still tethered to that and it gets pushes. I still get people come over to the channel in the Discord like, I just watched your goodbye video. It's like, great.
Welcome.
Welcome.
2 years later.
You have a binge worth of content now.
Yeah.
And-
Bingeworth.
One binge,
And
please.
the interesting thing was on the meta level. So this comes from the idea of you go to watch a superhero movie, right? You know it's all going to be fine. The world's not actually in danger because they just announced 3 more movies.
Yeah, that was my whole thing with friggin' Infinity War. I'm like,
We know
half
it's
the
gonna be
characters
fine.
die, and I'm like, I don't feel any sense of like suspense over this.
Yeah,
They come back.
they're going to
right?
come back.
It's-
So
I haven't watched
that's
any Marvel movie. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just
at
gonna
the end of
drop that.
Infinity War, literally half of the
Spoilers.
population of the entire universe dies.
And I don't regret it. Sorry.
So
And
that
at the
is-
end of the next movie, they all come back.
so
Spoilers.
the that's on the audience level a meta perspective, right?
Mhm.
Another version of that is when you watch a D&D show, you're going to instantly compare it subconsciously to any other D&D content you've watched. You're going to say, because your brain wants to know, is this good or not? That's why when we look at views, the number of views, high number of views means good.
Right.
So when you start watching D&D content, and if it's not as well produced on the final product as another one that you've seen, it's not good.
Even if the content might still be good.
Even if the content's still good.
So you face that challenge.
Because like a big thing is with the quarter audience that came over, they're expecting Node.
Right.
And then the further I get into the D&D and actual play community, which is beautiful community, but they are also comparing it to Critical Role, Dimension 20. They're all DM layer, so many of them. It's comparing because you want to know, am I watching something that's worth continuing as soon as possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting, like getting in the mind of the audience. That's why, like, when I was editing the vlogs, I didn't care the thumb and title as much. I cared about the flow from click to click.
Right.
Like, moment you click, how are you experiencing this video?
Yeah.
Until the moment you get out.
I mean, which is still king. For all of our talk about like thumbnail and title, content is still the king aspect here. It's like, you know, you can have a fantastic thumbnail and title, but if the content itself, if the video itself still sucks, then it's like, well, you suck.
Yeah.
But like, going back to what you said about like, what do you mean by it pushed too hard? Like that your goodbye video pushed too hard. Like, I don't understand what you mean by that.
I got a lot of responses saying, "Oh, we expected better from you."
Like like the set expectations weren't correct.
It was like, "Oh my God, he's leaving. He's going to make something great because he made something great." The vlogs, and it's like the vlogs were scrappy. I purposely made them scrappy because I didn't have the time to make them great, and I knew that the library itself would be great instead of individual videos. And I still believe that philosophy because we're a culture that wants to watch long content. Whether we're binging on Netflix one whole season or we're watching 1 week at a time on Mandalorian.
Right.
So I know that the library of something is going to be greater than the individual.
Did you see Clint's going away video?
I did.
It would have just dropped on Sunday.
A few days ago. I didn't watch it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you know, I think a lot of that video was modeled after your video.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Clint asked a few questions ahead of time about that and how my video was made and how I felt when making those videos.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some heart-to-heart about that stuff.
Oh.
My biggest advice was literally set the right expectation. Don't push too hard. Because if you set an expectation and the audience goes over expecting not just like this creator who made this thing that I'm emotionally attached to, but the next thing I have is Node D&D to compare it to, then if it's not that emotionally and spectacle-wise, or not even better than that, then you should ask for your job back, Carmichael. That's a weekly message I get on Instagram. You should ask for your job back.
Carmichael, if
that's
you
rough,
want
man. That's
job
not easy
at
to get a
Corridor,
message.
I have one for you.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good right where I'm at. Right. We'll see how the summer goes.
Come back to us, Cmike.
Come back just when I think he's out. We pull him back in.
Dude, I'm not gonna pull a Mr.
In this decade.
I don't know if I'm gonna pull off a Mr. Rogers or not. That'll be creepy.
I'm just gonna say that from now on.
Yeah,
completely
Mr. Rogers goes off the air for 3 years to do his own thing, and then comes back, changes everything.
Do you think that imagine it's not a fun feeling getting all those messages saying go back to your old job.
Go back to your old job.
It's very self-serving messages too. I liked your content. You're not feeding me the content I like, so you should change your life.
Yeah, you should change your life from me.
I expected better from you.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus.
Dude,
that's what my wife told me in the electric bike video.
I thought that's what she said to you on your wedding night.
Oh.
Wait, that's not a good thing. Why am I raising my eyebrows for that?
We're getting too deep here, guys.
Too deep. No, but like there are also other people, like my patrons, people who are on my Discord that know that what I'm trying to do is longevity. And it's also just like COVID hit like right when we were getting our motion going.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm going to have to figure out how to do this from everyone's home to keep everyone safe and happy. And
well, it's really, yeah, dude.
I mean, we're coming back real soon, which is great. And I'm looking forward to the first thing I DM on that channel.
Hell yeah. Dude, that's awesome, man. I feel like sometimes.
I'm going to take a lot what I learned from Son of a Dungeon, plop it right there.
Nice.
Good, man.
I have an assistant editor. So excited.
That's a step.
That's a step.
Yeah. Not having to edit everything and get tired of all the footage before you even cut it.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That's literally
It's
the
a real
reason for an
deal.
assistant editor is like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be tired of my video before I start creatively thinking about
That's
my
such
video.
a thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a thing.
Jake, you
But-
gonna play some music?
I have the guitar. But
Jake, how have you been? Like, you moved to Texas. You suffered a snowstorm.
dude,
You got like 3 more kids coming out of your wood beams.
I thought you were gonna finish that sentence very differently.
You got kids coming out of the beams?
I'm good, man. Everything's good.
Yeah?
But yeah. I think
Has it been hard producing Corridor from over in Texas?
It's had its challenges.
Yeah?
Yeah. But we're making it
It's
work.
working.
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah.
Jake's like, I'm gonna save all this for the next episode of
and
Corridor
the next
Cast.
time you guys are interested in hearing this,
Stay tuned.
Consider subscribing to the Corridor Cast. Carmichael, if you want to come back, man, we can continue this conversation. But
I'm literally blocks away, guys.
I actually do kind of want to hear how Texas has been going because you haven't debriefed us at all. Like, what is it like down there,
If you want to
man?
hear about that on the next Corridor Cast, consider subscribing. Yeah.
Can't even reach.
Yeah. Move that arm. Move it.
Carmichael, I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad we get to work together still. And
yeah.
this song's for you, buddy.
I'm just trying to freaking reach this.
Hey,
I can get it with my left.
hey.
Stop that. You're
David Carmichael.
just mute Ren right
Your
now.
name brings me joy. That's it. That's
Water
all you need to know.
bottle solo.
Wait, where would be a good note to resonate with
Water
you here?
bottle solo.
Water bottle solo.
Dude. No one crinkles like me.
No one crinkled.
Crinkling.
Crankle.
Okay, guys.
Dude,
There
it's
you go,
been
that's the
it's
same
been
note.
fun, man.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Thanks for watching.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Ready? I'm
Subscribe.
gonna yell in 3, 2, 1.